Hello everybody, it's Logan Clark here with Wandering Wildcrafts. Today I'm in Lima, Peru. I'm very excited because I just sourced out some fantastic naturally hand-dyed wool from Peru felting. Necessity is the father of creation and I'm in Peru without a hat. So of course I'm going to make a hat today. I'm going to be sticking to white because it can go with any outfit. I think it'll be light in the sun. And I'm very excited about this, so come with me and I will show you the process of how I make this wet felted hat. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my resist cut out, and then I have my bubble wrap that's laid out with the bubbles up, and so we will begin.
Okay, so now we're going to begin laying out the merino wool on top of the resist. I'm going to lay it out in one direction, making sure to overlay the resist. And each piece I'm going to make sure covers the resist completely, so I need to layer it and make sure my layers are very thin. So I'm going to do this until the whole resist is covered in a nice and even layer. So now I'm going to grab my favorite tool. This is a seedling sprayer. I bought it at Lee Valley if you're in Canada or the US, but you can also get it online, I'm sure, on Amazon. Anyways, it will just pick up the room temperature water with some soap, and I'm just going to spray it evenly all across. So now that I've got it nice and wet, I'm going to take my bubble wrap and place it bubble side down and just place my hands gently on it and move the water around, get it nice and absorbed. And once that's done, I'm going to gently lift up the bubble wrap, making sure none of the fibers are sticking to it, and proceed. Okay, so now for the moment of truth, we have to flip it over to the other side, and it's best to do this kind of confidently. There we go, done. And now we'll just make sure to tuck in the overlay of the fibers onto this side. And it's always best if you work with wet wool, you need wet hands. If you're working with dry wool, make sure you have dry hands. Okay, so I'm just making sure that the overhang just has enough water so it'll be easier to work with, and I'm just flipping it over to this side. I'm going to be working with the dry wool now, so I just make sure my hands are nice and dry, and here we go. So I'll do this side the exact same as I did the other side, making sure to lay it out in the same way as I did before. And I'm also adding that bit of overhang and doing it nice thin layers. Okay, so now that that's all done, we're going to spray it down nice and even, apply the bubble wrap, absorb all that water, making sure none of the fibers stick, and turn it over. And make sure all the overhang gets back onto the other side. So now for this side, we're now going to change directions. Now you'll notice at the brim of my hat, I'm not changing directions. And this is because I want a nice wide brim for my sun hat. So now you're going to see that I'm changing the direction, and that's just going to allow, when I begin felting, for all the fibers to intermingle together and create felt. See, it's a very repetitive process. When I do what I do to one side, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side in order to keep this uniformity. And you can see I'm also adding a thin layer horizontally across that brim just to make sure it does felt properly. And now I'm doing a vertical layer, so each time I do a layer on one side, it's going to change from vertical to horizontal. I'm doing a total of 5 layers for this hat, which should be a perfect thickness for a nice summer hat. Last layer just being a touch-up, making sure I have an even amount of fiber throughout. begun the felting process, we're going to place the bubble wrap bubble side down and begin rolling. Now you're just going to roll quite gently and evenly. And I'll probably give this a roll between probably 50 rolls. And I'll unroll it and roll it the other way. So every time you roll it, you want to make sure you do the same thing for the opposite side. So in total, I have rolled each side about 50 times, equaling about 200 rolls. And when I take it out, you're going to see that it's actually shrinking. The resist is now becoming too small, so I'm just going to start cutting it open very carefully, making sure not to cut the resist because I'd like to use that later on for another project. And once I get a little opening, I'm just going to take out the resist. There it is. Just going to cut the rest of the pad opening up. So here's my dish soap I'm going to use to help with the felting. So soap is what makes the wool be able to felt. It's a very important ingredient, and I'm just going to make sure I get it nice and soapy, as it's going to help me felt this hat. Okay, and more rolling and rolling and rolling. Just making sure to turn it clockwise every time. Okay, and you want to make sure that both sides don't felt together, so you take it out frequently, open it up, turn it inside out, and here I am turning it the other way so that I'm going to get rid of that crease. I'm just going to roll it that way to make sure I don't have a crease. And as you can see, the hat has shrunk quite a bit already. Get into the warm water part. I've heated up my water and added a bit more soap, spraying on the warm water. And you're going to notice as soon as you put the hot water on, it's going to begin to shrink quite quickly. And this part gets really fun because you can really see the magic happen. It's almost like playing with clay. You're molding the fiber into the hat shape. You're really working the fiber. You know, you pull it one way, it shrinks. You pull it the other way, and it shrinks that way. So you're just playing with this. Making sure to get rid of any lumps and bumps and creases. And noticing where the hat's too big and you need it smaller. As you can see, a lot of elbow grease is going into this. A lot of patience. And eventually, it turns out to make a hat. Alright, so we finished the hat. And now it's time for the embellishments. I'm going to begin by making a couple of flowers for the side of my hat. And I'm simply going to lay down the fiber in a star-like formation. I'm going to do a couple layers of this. have now been felted, and I'm going to be using the sponge and my needle felting tool. And I'm going to take the layers of the petals that I felted, I'm going to take 3 of them each and needle felt them together. And here is the finished product. And as you can see, I am modeling my hat downtown Peru. It is working perfectly, keeping the sun off of me and turning heads with this stylish wet felted hat. Handcrafted by Logan Clark from Wildcrafts. If you'd like more information on how to make your own hat or where to purchase a hat like this, follow along on my journey, wanderingwildcrafts.ca.